Yeah, she's here. Uh, add to stream.
There.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. I guess the sunlight is a little too bright. Let me
I was,
turn this close this curtain a bit.
yep. I had to do the same thing. I opened my curtain and then I put
Oh
some
yeah, I think
lights
this
on
is a
my
lot better.
laptop.
Yes.
How are
Let
you
me
today?
increase the
What's going
volume.
on?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I've been prepping myself, practicing. Okay, what do I want to say? How do I want it to look? What am I going to wear? Should I comb my hair? Should I put on some lipstick? What about my eyelashes?
Uh,
And at the end of it, it
that's
was like,
funny.
whatever.
I did try to do that myself, and I was creating a moment for myself to get ready and make sure that today's episode we can have a good conversation.
Yeah. Excellent.
And of course, first of all, you have to introduce yourself for our guests.
Okay.
Of course, this is Stroda Aglago on Love, Forgive, Live podcast. Today we have a guest, and Miss Marnye
Moore.
Marnye Moore is amazing because of what she does.
Okay.
And I believe in helping women feel unstuck. And she's the go-to lady. So she's going to share a bit of what she does and how we can all get in contact with her. And she'll give me that information. You can get in contact with me and then we can link you guys together. Anyways, please take it away. Tell us what you do and tell us about yourself.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sroda. I so appreciate you taking time out of your day to have me with you.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I love you.
My name is Marnye Moore, and I go under the name Envision Results. And I try to keep everything very, very simple. But what I really do believe is that women in particular need to go from stuck to started, that we all have this power within us. We all have abilities. We're all living our lives. We're all moving forward day to day. But
Yes.
perhaps there's something more within you. If you have
Yes.
any kind of a hope, a dream, a vision, once upon a time, I wanted to be somebody different. Then I believe that you have it within you to go from stuck to started. And
I
somewhere
believe
in
that
me, there is
too.
a book. Somewhere in me, there's a book bubbling, and it's going to be called just exactly that, going from stuck to started. Because once you get going,
Mhm.
you can decide how you're going to move, right? And you can
Yes, I
do
agree.
that.
Hmm.
So a few years back, I was sitting in a very good job, very, very acceptable, well paid, nice place.
Uh-huh.
Options, no opportunities, but that was because of the location. That's okay.
Hmm.
But I was sitting at my desk sobbing
Oh,
because I was bored to tears
oh my
and I
goodness.
didn't know how to move forward. I didn't
Mm.
know what to do. And I had this really good job. Why would I change that? I mean,
Yes.
come on. So one day I was cruising Facebook and this woman kept popping up on my Facebook feed as a personal coach.
Uh-huh.
And so I just said, what the heck? I called her. And
Yes.
it was great. She was really a lovely woman. And she gave me the framework to move forward and to be more, to take control.
Yes.
And it all started with understanding that I am responsible for me. I am not
Yes.
a
Oh,
child.
please say that again. I am responsible for me. Please say that again.
Yeah, I am responsible for me. I
Yes.
am not a child. I cannot
Yes.
blame my mother. I cannot blame my father. If I didn't like what they did, then it's up to me to do something different. And
Yes.
so once you take responsibility for who you are, what
Mm-hmm.
you're doing day to day,
Mm-hmm.
then you can go, okay, that was not my best effort. Let's start making better efforts. And
Yes.
to you, love, forgive, and live, you know what?
Yes.
It's time to forgive yourself the past
Yes.
and move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not always an easy thing. It's an ongoing thing. There are
Yes. It
days.
never ends. It's
It
that's what
doesn't.
I have learned too.
Yes.
People come to me sometimes for sessions. I just want to forgive and move on with my life, and I'm thinking, it's not a stage that you're just done
Right.
and then you move on to the next. It's an evolving process. As long as you have breath in you, the forgiveness work is always going to be done, because you would always run into something or someone, or there's something back in your past that will remind you in the future or in the present. And you need to do the work it takes to break that down.
Mhm. Something is always going to come up,
Yes.
something. And
Yes.
it's okay. You know what? If everyone has their own journey, so
Yes.
whatever was important to you then,
Hmm.
and it may come up now that you just need to let that go, it's
Yes.
okay. It doesn't matter that somebody else had a more difficult road. That's not your business. Your business is you and
Yes.
what you want to let go and what you want to change. And when you can actually recognize what is in your way and just see it out there, then you can change whatever needs to change to move
Yes.
forward. If you just want to start changing everything today and moving forward, that's great, but it's not going to last.
Of
Until
course
you
not.
understand what it is that is tripping you up,
Yes.
you're not going to move forward. You need to take the time to slow down, figure out what's in your way, and
Hmm.
then move forward. Some people
Hmm.
call it fear. I call it
Hmm.
life. You know,
Yeah, yeah. Believe me, life will come with all kinds of challenges, and boy, it comes head on. Sometimes I feel like I just got hit in the mouth, and then I'm like, that kind of hurt, and then you
yeah,
get slapped, and you're like, okay, now that hurt more. You're like, I thought the mouth one was painful, but this kind of hurt more, and then you get preoccupied with
exactly.
the hurt of
Yes,
life, because
yes.
it keeps coming. And then sometimes, you may get three or four of them happening at the same time, and you're like, really? Can
Mhm.
I get a break?
I know, exactly.
And
You
it seems
know,
like nothing is happening.
early on in this development, in this personal development,
Hmm.
um, I was part of a couple of masterminds, and my life was collapsing around me fast. And
Mm.
I needed somebody to talk to. And these
Yes.
people said, no, we don't want to hear it because it's negative energy. We don't have the time for you. Go away. And it was
Ooh.
like, oh, wow. You know what? Okay. So I went away. I did my own little soul searching, me and a quart of Haagen-Dazs. And
But it felt good at the
it
moment.
did. I was quite content with the Haagen-Dazs, you know.
Yes.
It was rocky road. It wasn't going to talk back. I have to
Uh-huh.
tell you, Talenti's salted caramel gelato is really
Mm.
a good
See,
caretaker as well.
now you're making me hungry. I'm licking my lips. I'm gonna have to try that today. I've never tried that, so I'm gonna try that.
Very, very good. Totally worth the calories. Totally worth the calories. Anyway, I went home and had a little soul searching party with myself.
Hmm.
Talked to the quart of ice cream, and I talked to the mirror and had that heart to heart with myself and said, okay. So
Mm.
then I called each of those people individually and I apologized and said, I'm really sorry. I just needed somebody to hear me. And that's when I realized that my take on personal development had its own spin, that
Yes.
you need the time to just feel what it is you're feeling so that you can
Yes.
go, okay, why am I feeling that? I
Hmm.
can move past that now. You can't
Hmm.
live there. You're not allowed to live there. This is
No.
not a permanent state of being, but
No.
you do need to recognize it. I mean, talk about grief.
Yes.
I have some friends that just lost their son,
Oh gosh.
and it wasn't wholly unexpected, but when it happens, it still hurts. He was
It
in
hurts.
his 30s and it still hurts. They need time to grieve before
Yes.
they can move forward. You
Hmm.
lose a friend, you need time to grieve before you move
I
forward.
agree.
You make a
100%.
big mistake at work, you need time to grieve or stop or
Yes.
process, and
Mhm.
then you can move forward, you can do better. But if you're
Yes.
just going to swallow that and move forward, it's going to come back up somewhere.
Yeah, and it's
You know?
not healthy either.
Yeah, it's not. It's not at all.
No. No.
So that's where I take my process from. I have a
Mhm.
framework that I work with. It's called Thinking into Results, and it helps people to diagnose or outline a goal and a way to
Yes.
start making that really, really clear and happy in their lives. And then to figure out what's keeping them from that because we all have within us this power to move forward. We can accomplish
Absolutely, I
anything.
agree, and I agree. I think that's the key to recognize that you have the strength within you, even though at the moment you may not see it, feel it, or believe it, or even understand it.
Yeah.
However, the mere fact of you creating the possibility that it does exist within you,
Mhm.
it's an amazing shift of an individual who is in
Yes.
chaos or battle within themselves and seeking that, I won't even call it satisfaction, but seeking a sense of relief and understanding that they can rest in their core and say, I'm moving forward. In order for an individual to do that, they must be able to recognize this shift that is possible.
Mhm.
And it's counting on that strength within you, that great one within you that you already have. You can tap into that. And it's sad because usually when individuals are going through this, they can't see it.
Yes.
That's
That's
why they
right.
need people like you to dialogue with
Mhm.
and process and break it down, because what it creates is an understanding that, oh, really, there is another way?
That's so true. So true. That's so right. You mean there's something else I could do? You mean I don't have to keep
Yes.
hitting my head against the same
Yes.
wall? There's another way. You know, I want to say very clearly up front, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. That is not me. But if you are a performance individual, whatever that means to you, it's not my
Mhm.
definition, it's you, and you want to move forward, then I'm
Yes.
the person to talk to for
Yes.
you to help to keep you accountable, to give you a different perspective. Every coach in the world, let's pick on football because everybody seems to know what that is. Their coach is not throwing the ball. The coach is working with them to explore their strengths and
Yes.
asking them to move forward. And what are you thinking about? And can you see yourself doing that thing? What's it going to feel like to run into the end zone and catch that ball? What does that
Mm.
feel like? And can you get there? And for you and me, what does it feel like to put that away? And to do what it is that we actually want to do and move
Mhm.
forward and
Mhm.
have somebody else give you their perspective because sometimes we're just too close to the situation. We can't see it.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
And
we
it's true.
need more.
I agree. Because there's a lot of people that come in, and I have clients because of my job as a mental health counselor. I have people who come and they still have a coach,
Mhm.
because, and some of them I even recommend to them, I think you need an accountability coach.
Yeah.
My job is to keep you mentally healthy
Mhm.
and allow you to process the stuff that are coming to you in a healthy process where you're mentally sound and
Mhm.
not getting derailed.
Good point. Yeah. Good point.
However, a coach, it's someone who is going to keep you accountable, go over your
Mhm.
goals, and make sure you're actually working towards that and not getting, oh, I said I wanted to make sure that I get up every day and go for my run. But then all of a sudden, I'm thinking about, oh, well, I want to do Pilates before I run. But then at the end of the day, I don't end up running. I
Mhm.
want to do whatever the other workouts, yoga, and then, but we agreed you were going to start running first thing in the morning because your cardio is important. Or a simple thing as the goal is to get you ready for school. You wanted to go back to school and get a new career that you want. Where is that? What is that? We came
Mhm.
up with a plan. We drafted a plan. Point one, you're going to do this. Two, three, four, five.
Mhm.
Now you're telling me that you heard about a 6 weeks course and you're going to do that. And then you'll be able to start school. But that was not the agreement and what we wrote down. You're getting derailed again by some trinket on the side. Let's
Mhm.
bring it back. The
Mhm.
goal is you want to feel that you're accomplishing something career
Mhm.
wise. It could be personal, it could be something that you're doing. Like, I have a gift of writing, but I'm not able to focus. They come to you,
Mhm.
you create a plan. This is what we're going to do. And I think that's what people forget, that coaches are needed because you keep them on task and they can actually get to their goal.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
mental health goals are completely different from
Mm-hmm.
a goal of coming to achieve personal success or career success, financial success.
Mm-hmm.
They're all different.
Mm-hmm.
So they
Yeah.
need a coach. But I hear people go, well, what do I need a coach if I already have a therapist? And I'm like, oh, let me tell you this. The truth, even therapists have coaches and therapy.
Absolutely.
We do.
Absolutely.
Most
Every
people
coach
tell
has a
you, but I
coach.
will tell you, we
Yeah,
do.
that's right. That's right. If a coach doesn't have a coach, you need to move on, because a coach should be willing to um, walk the walk, walk the talk, and
Yes.
have somebody else look at what it is that's holding them back from their greatest endeavor, and whatever that might look like. And every
Mhm.
program, no matter who you're working with, might have a
Mhm.
framework. Like I do, I have a framework that we start from, and then we start customizing it to you.
Yes.
And they need to be able to have somebody hold them accountable. You
Yes.
cannot change what it is you're doing until you're able to look at it through a different set of glasses, and
Yes.
you have one perspective. Nothing wrong with it, it's fine. But if you want to change or grow, you've got to know that there is a different way.
There
There
is.
is something more for you to pursue. Years
Yes.
ago, I did a lot of network marketing,
Uh-huh.
skincare, jewelry, lingerie, and I had a great time. But
Hmm.
at the time, the goal was that I wanted to become just like the person who recruited me. It
Oh
wasn't
my.
my goal. And I
Yes.
was trying to do what she said that she did, and it didn't
Hmm.
work for me. And I
Hmm.
wasn't able to see that. Fast forward a lot of years, her approach was not good for me. I
Yeah.
needed to do it in a different way. I
Hmm.
needed to not talk to friends and family. I needed to find um, a booth where I could go to a trade show and set up and talk to perfect strangers, because that seemed easier to me. And I
Yes.
was able to generate interest and little sales here and there. And when those little sales were successful, they brought on bigger sales. And it was finding a way that suit me. It wasn't doing the normal way. It wasn't doing what somebody else told me I should
Hmm.
do.
Hmm.
It was finding the one that worked for me, and it was allowing something different. If it's not working, stop doing that.
Exactly. And
I
I
don't
agree.
care what it is.
Hmm.
Stop. Go
Hmm.
do something else.
Hmm. That's very true because I see what you mean. Because when an individual, a coach, may come with a certain blueprint of how they did it to make it, and they're coming to you, or you go to them, and they say, "Well, follow these blueprints that I did, and I made it, or I got it, or I got to this point. You
Mhm.
can follow the same thing." The fact of the matter is this: every individual has a style, has a personality.
Mhm.
So the way to do things must fit their personality. Otherwise, it feels like you're wearing shoes that don't fit.
Yes. Oh, good analogy. Perfect. Perfect. I've worn so many too tight shoes. It's silly. I get
And then
that.
you try to wiggle out of it, and you're
I
like,
know.
"Oh, I don't know. Well, oh, I tried to wiggle and it ripped. Okay, I guess I need a new one."
That's exactly right. I mean, we're a women here, primarily we're
Mhm.
women here. We've all put
Mhm.
on high heels that are too small, too tight, but
Oh
weren't
Lord,
they cute?
don't
Oh
remind
my
me.
heaven. I know. You get home at the end of the night, you think, why did I even do that? I should have just worn tennis shoes and done what I knew to do. Yeah,
Yes,
I so understand that. That's a great
yes,
analogy.
I agree because I think once you do that, I hope my listeners or my viewers would understand this. We are not saying that you just go willy nilly and just get a coach. You must evaluate where you are
Hmm.
and then approach your coach.
Hmm.
Because I promise you, your coach will take what you give them. So you have to be very honest with yourself, be vulnerable.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. Transparent. It's one of the words I keep off to the side here. Yes.
Yes, yes. And it must be interesting to get individuals who come to you And then they believe one thing, that's where they want to be. But when you're working with them, something else keep popping at you. How do you manage something you're seeing in them and recognizing where they need to go, but they keep telling you verbally it's something else? How do you
Well,
recognize that? How do you manage that?
so I'm not your friend. I know that straight up. I'm not your
Hmm.
friend.
Hmm.
And so you can tell yourself whatever it is that you want to, that you
Yes.
have just paid a lot of money that is non-refundable. Every coach will
Yes.
say the same thing. That is not
Yes.
non-refundable because we need your attention and free items. Anyway, we need your attention. That's
Yes.
what we want. And so when we start listening to you, we ask for a time commitment and we ask you to be transparent and to
Yes.
recognize that what we're talking about is just between us.
Yes.
And my job is to continually push on you and probe until you start giving yourself the
Yes.
answers you need to hear. I am not your friend. It is, I'm not going to be nice. I won't be rude, but my job is to just keep coming forward and forward. And if
Yes.
it's to
Yeah.
say, um, I see a complete lack of action here. We have been talking once a week for a month, and you have not done anything that you told me that you would do. You really need to rethink what it is you're doing because something is standing in your way. So why are you afraid to move forward? Let's make a plan. You want to become CEO. Great. Let's talk about the fears that you have going into this new role as
Hmm.
if you have become the CEO. Let's
Hmm.
do that.
Hmm.
Let's talk about opportunities that you want to create to generate a strong team.
Yes.
What do you want these people to see in you? Are you
Mm.
actually acting that way? Are your words that way? Do you even know what that looks like, or is that just a fancy word that you heard? It,
Clarity.
how do you want to move forward? And what are the other commitments you have in your life? Perhaps it's a relationship, a husband or a spouse that says that you need to make sure that that person still feels like and knows that they are important to you while you are achieving this great big goal. What does that look like? And if you're not going to, you're wasting your time. Find a coach that you feel like you can talk with and be transparent
Yes.
with.
Hmm.
Understand it's going to be expensive. They're going to hold you accountable, and
Yes.
they are not there to be your friend. They are
That's exactly
there
true.
to push you to
Hmm.
success.
Hmm. And I think that is so clear. I'm so glad you answered that because sometimes people may perceive that, oh, a coach is a fix it.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. A
So,
coach is a guide. You are your hero. I am not your hero. I am your guide. And I'm just going to keep pushing you and pushing you. And at the end of the day, when you get that Super Bowl ring, babe, that is on you.
yes,
That is not on me.
yes,
I'm just back here giving you a kick, a push, a shove, and making you face whatever it is that's in your life. And if you want to call it a fear, call it a fear. If you want to call it life, call it life.
I
That's what it
agree.
is.
I agree. I agree. And
Woo.
this, I think this gets is very clear. Thank you. I love that answer because it makes it clear because it has to be done. And they seek you out for a reason.
Mhm.
And you're taking on this responsibility because you recognize that this individual is ready.
Mhm. Yeah.
When they seek you out, they're not seeking you out for the sake of, oh, I just want to seek someone out and just like you said, I'm not your friend.
Mhm.
We are here to achieve a goal and we will work towards that. And to make sure that the individuals stay on task, yes, you have to make sure that they recognize their responsibility
Mhm. Mhm.
in this task that they're you didn't put it on them, they put it on themselves and
Yes.
seek you out.
Mhm.
And in doing so, one of the most, I want to know what is one of the most rewarding things about this career or this path, I
Mm.
should say.
Yeah. It's actually um, it's watching somebody make that breakthrough and to
Mm,
move. to actually make that breakthrough and move forward on what it is that they previously thought they could not do. So I have just a couple of clients. I'm just, like I said, I'm just getting my feet wet or really making this ball roll. And I have one person that I work with, and
Mm,
she's a nurse, and she's been struggling to reach out to other nurses
mm,
and to form a mastermind, if you will, people that they can support each other in their industry, make
yes.
recommendations, find that energy again that they once had when they went into it as young
Mm,
women, and they
mhm,
wanted to care for the world and make everybody feel better. And
mhm,
so that's kind of been lost, and now she's trying to find it again, and she just
mm.
could not make
Oh,
that breakthrough. And just in the last 2 days or so, she
mhm,
called me and she said, I did it. I reached out to a specific person. I told her what I wanted. I told her how I wanted it to go. And she said, great idea. I can't wait to begin. And so
mm,
now she's got this excitement in her to do
mhm,
it again. And
uh-huh.
she doesn't have to come up with new words. She has the words already written down. She knows where to go. And it was
Oh my
that part
goodness.
that was so exciting that she had been talking about for so long that she finally did it. And she had to get to a point where she had to do it. I mean, there were no other options for her. She was done with the excuses. She
Mhm.
had made the commitment to herself, and it was time to keep that. The most important commitments in the world that we keep are the ones that we keep to ourselves, that we
Yes,
make to ourselves, and we do. Because
yes, I
if you're
agree.
not gonna keep a commitment to yourself, why
Mhm.
would you keep it to somebody else?
Yeah.
Your job is to take care of you and make you the
Mhm,
best.
mhm,
And so now she's
and
moving forward. She's so much happier. So
oh, I
happy.
love that.
Yeah, that's a
Because
good thing. That's what you look for, is those
yes, that's,
breakthroughs.
it is amazing that you're recognizing that and in the individual. I know for me, when I'm working with clients and they're having a difficult time accepting the situation as it is.
Mhm,
And um, for lack of a better word, when I have individuals who are couples and one wants out and one wants in their relationship, and then after they sit down and describe the dynamic of what is really happening, even though it becomes clear that they need to be apart from each other, and but somehow one individual insists on staying in it. And then when this is happening, I usually look at the couple and their situation, and I sit back and just let them dialogue with each other
mhm.
for a while, anyways. And then that's when I chime in and I'm like, okay. And what I normally do is I reiterate what they're saying to each other so they can hear it again from a third person. And usually by the time they finish hearing, they're like, uh, I said that.
Mhm.
And then sometimes some of them go, "Ah, if you put it that way, it doesn't sound." I was like, okay. Now are you ready to receive this as it is?
Mhm.
And it takes a while. And then when they finally get it, or both of them finally agree and get on the same page, I love the look on their face. I love
Isn't that great?
the
Taylor,
light
we
bulb
got it.
moment.
Yes,
This beautiful light
exactly.
bulb moment
Exactly.
ends up creating a new level of understanding
Mhm.
and a recognition that, okay, it's time to create a new normal. It's time to create a new way of existing as individuals and not as a couple. And of course, once sometime when that happens, one may be disappointed, but still accepting. My brother normally talks about it. He calls it radical acceptance. And
Mhm.
this is a book he's reading. And I was like, yeah, until that happened, that light bulb moment will not come on.
Yeah.
And I love when they get it and they're like, oh, thank you. And I said, I had nothing to do with this. It's all in you. It was there all along. We just needed to dig around a little bit for you to find that door and come here and then see the light was on all along.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then they look at me and they're like, well, what took me so long? And I said, it doesn't matter, we're here.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's very rewarding to see individuals come to a place where they can see where they're disconnected from
Mhm.
themselves and from their goals and where they need to go. So I'm stoked that you're doing this because I was one of those mothers
Mhm.
that was lost. You know, when you're in a relationship, you get lost sometimes.
Yes, totally.
Yes.
Totally. It's really easy to put everybody else's needs ahead of you
Oh
and
my
think,
gosh.
you
It's
know,
amazing.
I'll just go hide in the closet for a while. Let me know if you need anything. I'll be over there.
Mine was in the bathroom. I would go in there and lock myself in there and then
Yep.
light a candle and
Mhm.
try to run the bath. And then I'm still getting knocks on the door, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
need 15 to 20 minutes, just 15 to 20 minutes. And
Right.
I spend that time crying instead.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Just
That's not going to help anybody. It's not
it
going to
doesn't
help
help.
you.
And I
Yeah.
remember being stuck, and I recall feeling depressed
Mhm.
and asking myself, is this what I really asked for? And
Mhm.
then you go in your mind, sometimes you're like, you start counting on the things that you have that are working. And then I start going, yeah, but I have a child, I have a spouse, I have this, I have that, I have that.
I'm so glad you said that. Go on.
Yeah. So then I go through all that and I'm like, I shouldn't complain, I'm good.
Mm.
And I shove myself down a little further down
Mhm.
and forget that I am drowning.
Mhm.
And just when I could try and create a resemblance of something that I could go forward to,
Mhm.
I just shoved it down.
Yeah.
And it just made me sicker, sad. I would get up, get my child ready for school, go to the boot camp, work out, come back, take a shower, and crawl into bed.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
That's
Cry
heartbreaking.
myself to sleep. And then miraculously, I would wake up and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's 2:55. I better get ready. Put some
Yep.
makeup on, look
Yep.
happy, go pick up my child from the bus stop, and come in and let's do a good job.
Right. Pretend it never happened. That
Yes.
pretend it never happened. You know, I have to say, I was talking to somebody about going from average to awesome. One of the
Yes.
things that I realized in my life, I had a really nice, comfortable little life, right? I had a
Mhm,
really good
mhm.
job. I was in a nice place. Um, but and I shouldn't want more. That's what we're always told is that you shouldn't want more. You know
Yes.
what? There are children starving all over the world. Why are you complaining? You have a roof over your head. You have a very good job. What is your problem? You
Mhm.
shouldn't want more. But you know what? The truth of it is, if there's any kind of an inkling in you, you do want more. You should get
Yes.
more. And
Yes.
your starting point might be right here, or it might be right here, or it
Mhm,
might be way down on the ground. And it
mhm.
doesn't matter. The deal of it is that you just need to begin where you are. These
Yeah.
stories of people who go from rags to riches show up on a boat, they're an immigrant, they've got
Mhm,
$5 in their pocket and they
mhm.
just knock it out of the park. Those stories are really compelling because it's not something we can even relate to. It's just a fascination. But what
Yes.
if you came from a perfectly average family? It wasn't terrible, it wasn't
Mhm,
fabulous, but it
mhm.
was fine. You went to school, you had opportunities, and you didn't do anything with them because you just didn't know. That's just what you had.
Yes.
So wanting more, I don't know, what does more look like? I've pretty much got everything I want,
Yeah.
whatever. Or the kids that come from very privileged families and they've got every opportunity and every networking option. It's who you know, not what you know, and they
Yeah.
don't do anything with it. Well, that's okay. That's where they are. But until
Yeah.
they start responding to that desire within them and they actually acknowledge that
Mhm.
there is something more that they can be doing or should be
Yes.
doing,
Yes.
then they start there. Don't worry about anyone else. And it's like you
Mhm.
said, to be drowning,
Yeah.
but you should be happy because, well, gee,
Yeah,
Everything's fine. You know what?
everything
It's
is
not.
fine.
It's
Yes,
not because you are drowning.
yes.
Go forward, do something more.
Hmm.
Reach out, take a class. My client, the nurse, she's like, "Well, what about my kids? I've got to take care of my kids. I'm going to pay the mortgage." It's like, so what? You're going to do that whether you're drowning or whether you're excelling. You're
Yeah,
going to do that whether you keep doing this or you start pursuing something more. Pursue something more.
yes,
Do what you need to do to fill yourself up. And you cannot give what you don't have. So
yes.
until
Oh,
you're
please do
totally
that again.
full and
Yeah.
overflowing spiritually, financially, emotionally, and physically, it ain't happening. You've got to get those things on track so
Yes,
you can give back. Don't worry about the kids. They're going to be fine. Of
they're
course,
gonna
you're
be
going to take care
fine.
of
That's
them. They're
the,
fine. They're
the
fine.
beautiful thing about this because they will be fine. And the mere
Right.
fact that you've had the thoughts and the inkling to want more and then gravitate towards that, the beautiful thing is the opportunity and the situations to make that possible and the space for you to be able to do that and still have the family taken care of. The
Mhm.
most fascinating thing happens. It does get taken care of and you still
It
get what you
does.
need.
It does.
And so when I see people thriving that way, I'm like, oh, I think they figured something out.
Yeah.
They've figured something out. They've come to a place where they're recognizing that there's more to this life than what they've got and what they're thinking and believing.
Mhm.
And it's sad to me that individuals will create these dialogues within themselves and it keeps them trapped
Mhm.
and stay in this it's almost like a mental prison we create,
Yes.
keep us
Yes.
hostage.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
the strangest thing is the key is in you.
Mhm. It's
You
very
have the
true.
key.
Very true. What
It's
was your
insane.
turning points, Rhoda? What
I
was
think
your turning point?
I think my turning point was, let me just do this light, the
Fix
sun
it.
it's
It's
just messing with
fix
me.
it.
Let me
It's
just
okay.
fix it.
I'm okay. I'm okay. We're here. We can do whatever we
Okay, I
want.
think this is good.
Is that going to work for you? Tell me
Yes,
the whole
much
thing.
better. It's just
Okay.
the glare was just getting in the way.
Yep, I get it.
I believe my turning point was recognizing, because I'm the type of person, sometimes I read things and it gets stuck in my head,
Mhm.
or I may watch something that gets stuck in my head, and then years down the line, I recall them.
Mhm.
So I recall watching something and they were saying omega-3 helps women's balance their women's hormones.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? So I didn't pay attention, but I remembered one day coming back from the gym and taking the shower, and then I reminded myself I needed to eat. Then I was like, oh yeah. So I went downstairs, made something to eat, but I couldn't finish the food because the appetite wasn't there. And then I just laid on a couch. The TV's not on, just laid there. Then I remembered, I think there's something wrong with me.
Hmm.
I don't know what it is, but I think there's something wrong. And I think that was 2008. And then I went and I just laid there. And then I remembered in my head, maybe your hormones are a little weird. You need to start taking your vitamins, because I wasn't taking any at all.
Mhm.
So I took, the next day, I went to the store and I got omega-3, a multivitamin, and then I picked up the stuff and I went to the clerk to pay for it. And then he said, oh, you're buying your multivitamins. Did you know that you need vitamin D too? And I was like, vitamin D? Never thought about it. He said, how much time do you spend outside in the sun? And I was like, maybe 10 minutes waiting on the bus stop
Mhm.
and, and then pick up, drop and pick up. And he's like, no, I think you need more than that. And I was like, okay, so I have to take this? He said, vitamin D, you probably need that. And I said, just because of the sun, then what would it do for me? And he said, it does affect your mood and your mind end up creating negative thoughts
Mm.
for if you don't have vitamin D. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, you've never heard of that? And I'm like, no. So then I was like, what else? Then he said, try, work with those first and then go to a doctor and get your levels checked and find out you probably need vitamin C too. And I was like, okay. So I bought the stuff and went home.
Mhm.
And then I took it believing, I'm sure it probably did a placebo effect on me, but I was believing it was going to fix me.
Uh-huh.
So I took it, and it must have created the endorphin in my head that, yes, this is going to work. And the belief system was already there. So when I took it, I started believing that I'm actually doing better.
Mhm.
Then I started thinking, you know what? I've always wanted to do my master's. I think I'm going to try and figure something out. Then I applied for school,
Mhm.
and they told me to happen in the fall. And I was like, okay. But in the meantime, I still needed something to do.
Mhm.
I started journaling, but the journals were only about what I'm eating and how it's
Mhm.
affecting me. My mind wasn't quite where it needed to be. So when I kept doing that, and then one day I remember getting on my knees in the bathroom floor and just bawling
Mm.
and bawling and bawling. And then when I got tired of my knees being on the bathroom floor, I just curled up in the fetal position and I just cried more. And then I said, this is not my life.
Mhm.
This is not what I want. And this is not where I want to be. I need to save me. Then it reminded me back when I was 13 years old, 12, 13 years old, and I was in a really bad place where the family members I was staying with at the time were not treating me right, and I was being
Yeah.
physically, beaten and abused, and it wasn't safe for me. So at that time, I recall making a decision.
Mhm.
I will advocate for myself,
Mhm.
and I choose not to become like these adults around me. And I would teach every child around me that I'll be better.
Mhm.
So what I wanted and I couldn't have, I'll give that out. So I quickly remember that moment, me advocating for myself and telling myself, I gotta save me.
Mhm.
So it reminded me now, well, just like that time, you gotta save you. Then I was asking questions of myself. Well, what am I gonna do? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Mhm.
Then I started looking for places to go to try and talk to someone. Then I remember a friend of mine invited me to a church a long time ago, and I went there. I didn't even know where the place was. I just remembered it was near the movie, opposite the movie theater. So
Uh-huh.
I just drove and I saw the place, and I was like, oh, I think that's it. I walked in there, and after church, she saw me and said, oh, you didn't tell me you were coming. I was like, I was just deciding to come and
Mhm.
see what I would do. And then it was different from what I already was used to. So I was like, okay, this is like a club and a fun club. Okay, I think
Mhm.
I'll be okay. I'll be nice. And then I took my daughter next week. Then I felt like I had something to do,
Yeah.
at least something to do weekly. And whatever they talked about, I'll go home and read. And it gave me something to start focusing on.
Yeah.
And then slowly I started recognizing that I needed more. So then I asked them, I think the next year I asked them, do they do counseling here? And then they were like, yeah, they have pastoral counselors. And I was like, yeah, I want to see them. So I started talking to them, and they were like, yeah, yeah, you have a lot. And then
Mhm.
it allowed me to start seeing. And I told them I wanted to go to school. And then I just started one class when I started the counseling the following year. and it gave me an outlet and clarity. Then I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I had something worthwhile, and I was actually beginning to do something that felt like I was alive.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was able to appreciate our child. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I would make dinner for the family and my spouse would come and whatever my spouse was, bringing home, whether it was friendly or not, I just told myself, I will not allow that to affect me.
Right.
Because if somebody's behaving in a certain way, if I'm not resonating with that, I cannot take that on to me and
Mm-hmm.
make that my issue.
Mm-hmm.
So I started recognizing that I needed to just focus on what I needed to do. And the counseling at the church was helpful because it kept reinforcing the fact that I am not alone.
Mm-hmm.
I can grow out of this space and describe to me what I was dealing with and how I needed to create that shift in my mind that I could go for more.
Mm-hmm. And it started with a decision.
Oh, yeah, the decision is very important. If you cannot make it, you're done.
Yes, it started with a decision. And then it
Yes.
was one thing led to the next. And
Yes.
you didn't know how it was going to happen.
No.
You just
Also
knew that it was going to happen. Joan Rivers, she's passed, of course, and she had quite the colorful career. But
yes.
she said she broke into a man's industry. She made a lot of changes, and
Oh, yes.
broke into a man's
Great
industry.
comedian.
And she said she just walked through every door that was opened to her. And so she didn't analyze it. She didn't overthink it. She
Mm-mm.
just started moving forward. And
Yes.
it sounds like that's what you did too. It was
Yeah, I didn't
one
even know
thing.
what I was doing.
Yeah, one thing led to the next, led to the next. And it's not about, you don't have to know the plan. You don't
No.
have to have any kind, but you have to know that there's somewhere else that you're going. And if you can isolate that, that's great. But just accept that that may happen down the road. Your purpose is for expansion and development.
Mm-hmm.
God, the universe, source, spirit, call it what you will,
Mm-hmm.
that energy that connects us all is
Yes.
giving you this inspiration to
Yes.
move forward
Yes.
and to explore it. And it is your God-given responsibility and right
Yes.
to
Yes.
develop that. And if
Mhm.
you don't, you're shortchanging yourself.
Yeah.
And you need to continue to move forward. You need to find that path, but you don't have to know how today.
Yes.
That
And that's
doesn't
what we need
matter.
our young people to hear.
Yeah,
They want all the answers today.
no, no, no. That's not going to happen. And like I said, earlier on, the network marketing, I didn't know how to make it work. But
Mm-hmm.
when I quit doing the prescribed way
Yes.
and just let it be easier and did what worked for me, what felt good to me, then it
Yes.
became easier. Quit trying to force
Mm-hmm.
what you're doing. If what you're doing is not working, stop doing that.
Yes.
Stop it.
Yeah. I
Back
agree.
up.
I
Let it
agree.
be easy. Let it be easy. And you talked about journaling. I suck at journaling. Totally suck.
Have you
Um,
ever done word association?
I have not. I have never done that.
It's
Um,
powerful.
is it?
Yes.
I'll
Yeah.
have to look into it.
It's
But
fun.
the journaling though, I'm so happy. I just suck at it. But what I do is when I am inspired to do it, I act
Mhm.
on it right now.
Oh,
And
good.
when you do it one time, then it becomes easier a second time, and then it can
Mhm.
become a little bit more consistent.
Yes.
So a lot of life is that way. When you do one thing, when you achieve one little goal, you went and bought your vitamins. You made a
Yeah.
decision that you needed to take vitamins,
Yeah.
and you
Strange
started
enough, I
doing
don't
that.
know how that, but it just popped in my head.
Exactly. And you acted on that. And that's the important thing is to start acting on that inspiration to
Mhm.
move forward. And when you
Mhm.
decide that you're ready for a coach, you'll find that coach. Otherwise, the lesson will be repeated until it is learned. And I'm asking you to quit doing that.
Yeah.
Quit banging your head on that wall.
Yes.
Pay attention and slow down.
Mhm.
Not everything needs to happen yesterday.
Yes.
And expect that your life is going to change as you go along, that you're
Right.
going to lose friends, you're going to get new friends.
Yes.
But I tell people, It's not often that you keep the same friends from grade school,
Yeah.
high school,
Mm-hmm. I
maybe
agree.
college. And so it's okay to let other friends go. If they are dragging you down, family and friends are probably not your biggest supporters. They love you, but
Yes. Oh, Lord. Yes.
but they're not there. I mean, because you fit a role. They have made you into the person that fits this chunk of their life. And if you're going to do something different, that's just going to mess up a whole bunch of stuff.
Yes.
So if you
Yes.
could just quit doing that, that'd be really great. So what I'm suggesting to you is that you quit them. And
Yes.
it doesn't have to be forever or for always, maybe it's just 15, let's pick on your mother-in-law. 15 minutes on Sunday and on her birthday and Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then
Mm-hmm.
that's done,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And it
Mm-hmm.
would be really good if your husband took his mother out for dinner, not you. Your husband did that.
Yeah.
And then you can, right? It's a good day. Have a nice afternoon. Call me when it's over. I will be on the couch binging Netflix. Be a
Yes.
great afternoon for both of us. Fabulous.
I
So
agree. I
those
agree.
things are there, but they're hard.
Yeah.
Those decisions are hard. But we want your results, and we have to increase your. Let's pick on some words that are just buzzwords these days, but they mean something. Let's change your vibration. Let's change what
Yes.
it is that you're feeling so that you
Yes.
pursue
Mm-hmm.
those things that seem right to you. They don't
Yes.
need to seem right to anybody else. It's about you. It's because you're pursuing your birthday candle wish, right? Rachel Hollis talks about a birthday candle wish. The one wish, that candle is on that cake. If you take a deep breath and you blow out that candle,
Mm-hmm.
and if you tell anybody, it's never going to come true. But
Yes.
you just need to know in your heart you're going to get it, and
Mm-hmm.
you start moving toward it. You start changing what it is you think about, and what you think about, you will bring about.
Yes.
And the more you focus, the better you're going to get at that,
Mm-hmm.
and more opportunities are going to come your way. When
Oh,
you want to
you
buy
think
a new
it's
red Mercedes,
powerful?
nobody's driving a red Mercedes, but as soon as
Yes.
it's on your brain, every other person's got a red Mercedes. And that's
I
just
agree.
so right? And so you've got to, but that's what you need to do. You need to become obsessed. You need to think about it,
Mm-hmm.
write it down, get clear, find new people. And when you start opening your mind to new possibilities will show up. That's
Yes.
the law of attraction.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're going for. I
Yes.
want your results to be stellar. And they
Yes.
become stellar when you believe that you are meant for it, you
Mm-hmm.
become focused on it,
Mm-hmm.
and you start doing something about it.
Yeah, I agree. And it's very important that people recognize that we don't have to have all the steps figured out. The
No.
answers don't have to be right where we want it to be, because the powerful thing is this: once you make the decision, take the first step. You don't know when the next step is going to be, or
Mhm.
what it is, or how. But the most powerful thing is it shows up.
Mhm.
And then you're able to recognize it at that time. Oh, okay, I'll take this. Then you take the next step, and then you get there, you see another one, you're like, wait, I didn't even realize this was here all along. Yes,
Exactly.
it was.
Isn't that the truth?
Yes. And I recognized that once I took steps towards that and started seeing that, I started going like, wait a minute. All this was here and I didn't even know it.
Mhm.
Yes, because you're not making a decision.
Mhm.
And this is what I believe strongly, that pure spirit, creator, God, the universe,
Mhm.
all it that you may, is waiting for your decision.
Yeah.
Because everything is ready.
Mhm.
And it's, from the words of Superman, when his father put him in a capsule and he was sending him off, he said, everything you need, you have.
Mhm.
You already have. That's us.
Mhm.
We already have it. But until we make a decision that, okay, I'm going to do something. I don't know what it is. I don't know how it's going to come about, but I know I'm going to do something.
Mhm.
And then take that one step. It's just beautiful because the steps keeps coming and coming and coming. and then it elevates you higher and higher into your vibration, into the higher vibration that you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing when we talk about faith, manifesting. It's all in one.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
must make that decision and take the step. And when you take the step, like they said, seeing before it's even there,
Mm-hmm.
because the imagination takes place,
Mm-hmm.
begins to have that drive, but you don't know what it is, but you know that something, even though it's not physically here, it's not something you're seeing right now, but you just have this feeling, because as your vibration increases or your vibration rises to where you're supposed to be, that feeling, because of a lack of a better word, that feeling of wanting the place or the being that you want to become
Mm-hmm.
becomes clear every day.
Oh, yes. Each goal goes on to the next. You know, one success leads to another success,
Mhm.
leads to another success, and then you've achieved a goal. And when you get there and you're standing on that little hill and you're looking around, it's like, oh, there's another goal over there. I
Yes.
am going to go get that one. You know what? Get out of my way. I have
Yes.
got something else I've got to be doing. And it's these vibrations, this, feelings are words that we have invented, humans have
Yes.
invented to
Yes.
describe your level of vibration. And when you get that vibration moving and changing, results happen. And that
Yes.
when your vibration is on the same vibration as that goal, then you'll start bringing it together. The universe will start to spin in a way that brings those two things together. Now, I
Yes.
want to tell you that there are going to be problems and there are going to be obstacles, and we call
Absolutely.
those learning opportunities as you go along. Do not get stuck doing the same thing over and over and over again,
Yes.
trying to
I
get to
so
that new
agree.
goal. You've got to do something new and different and change it up, or you're never going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Never, ever.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to allow yourself to do what you do not expect and
Yes.
trust yourself that you will come through it just fine, that
Yeah.
you are going to be amazing. And
Mm-hmm.
you start where you start. You do not need to be an immigrant with $5 in your pocket. You do
Yeah.
not need to be ultra wealthy. You start here. You start where you are. And that was a big learning curve just to realize, you know what? I am comfortable. My life is happy and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But there's so much more. I shouldn't be content with good enough. I want
Yes.
more. You
Mm-hmm.
know, my family, they didn't raise me to just be who they were. They raised me to be more than who they were.
Yes. That's what
So
my
go
dad always
be
says to me.
more.
He said, I want you to be more. I
Yeah,
want you to be more. He said, there's so much more. Don't
and
just
you
settle.
said
Sometimes I'll
that.
call him and I'm whining, and he's like, I know you've been working hard on this, and I know you're getting a lot done, but you know what? I don't think you've exhausted everything yet.
Yeah,
I
that
had
was
that
good to
conversation with
hear.
my dad at Christmas. And I was like, Dad, I'm so frustrated. I'm doing this. And I got to this place. I feel like I'm just banging my head, get a head against the wall. He's like, I hear you and I hear everything you're saying, but it doesn't sound like you've exhausted anything yet. And I was like, what? He's like, no, there's still more.
Oh, it's just
And,
heartbreaking when you
and
get to
I
the
thought,
truth and you just have to hang
yeah,
your head and,
exactly.
yes, I understand. You're right. You're right. Okay.
And then things that are unfolding. And I called him. He said, what did I tell you? And I was like, yeah, Dad. Then he said, it's nice to know at your age, you still need me to advise you. And you still need a parent. And I was like, well, I'll always need you, Dad.
Right.
And that is the beauty.
Mhm.
Because with my younger days, I used to beat myself and say, why am I being so greedy? Why am I just never satisfied? Why am I
Right.
constantly just, you know, holding on to something and thinking that why can't I just be satisfied? No, is that greatness within you
Yes. Yes.
that
Don't
says
be satisfied.
you're more,
Go. Yeah.
you're
You know
more
what?
than
Yeah. So when you start, you make that decision and you start having gratitude for what it is that you have right now, you recognize that this is good and
yes.
why. Don't forget the why. That was a big step for me, was
Mm-hmm.
going, I'm grateful for the home that I have. Why? You know what?
Yes.
It's in a really good neighborhood. I've made some really good friends. I have plenty of space and I feel very comfortable and safe here. That's a good why. Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I'm never going to buy a new house,
Yes.
but it means that right today, this is a really good place to be. So I
Yes.
can let that relax and I can move
Mm-hmm.
forward.
Mm-hmm. I so agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm stoked because I know that is what people are struggling with.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel, and I know, as I know within my heart and in all of my being, that depression comes from believing and coming to an understanding that we create that we are lacking something, that
Mm-hmm.
we don't have something. When
Mm-hmm.
we focus on what we don't have,
That's all you see.
that will put you in depression
Absolutely.
really badly. And it's anytime you ask individuals who are severely depressed, they will start, I said, what got you here? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just feeling this way. Like what? Tell me what's going on. Well, I don't have this. I don't have this. I wanted to be here. I wanted to do this. I wanted to have this, and I couldn't have it. And I lost this. And I did this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Tell me the things that you're grateful for. Well, there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing.
Really?
Or I'm like, oh, you're here. What do you mean? So now I'm taking up space, and I'm like, that's not it. And then I recognize that, and every single time I
Mm-hmm.
deal with a client, and I'm like, just do me a favor, just 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't think of anything.
Your home, your car, your family, your friends, dinner, a hot date,
Exactly.
a vacation planned for next month.
Yes.
I
And then
mean,
sometimes I go,
so what are those things
are you
exactly?
breathing? And they're like,
Yeah,
well,
I'm
of course I'm
upright.
breathing. And I was like, you actually woke up this morning.
Mm-hmm. If
They're
that's
like,
where you need to begin, then that's
what
where you
is that
begin.
supposed to be? And I was like, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And that's what we're stuck in.
Mm-hmm.
People are stuck in a situation and say, I don't have. Yes, sometimes depression may come out of a loss, grief,
Mm-hmm.
and that has its own place too,
Mm-hmm.
and it needs to be recognized
Mm-hmm.
that what is happening, and not saying, I don't have, because believe me, nobody in this world has everything they ever wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Super rich can have anything they could ever buy, but why are they not rich? Because what they want, or what they feel the desire in their heart, hasn't been fulfilled in their heart yet.
Mm-hmm.
So they will seek, they'll
Yeah.
keep seeking.
Yeah.
But the fear of not understanding that I can be okay with this, and know that what I'm seeking or what I'm going after is possible. And I can rest in the presence with that and
Mm-hmm.
say, it is all right. And I am good. I will keep working towards it because it is possible for me.
Mm-hmm.
And what is here is what I'll see. Then that stops us from saying, but I want and I don't have. I want and I don't have.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it'll just worsen the depression.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that pit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I remember when I was in that pit, it was scary. And the strangest thing is, I didn't even recognize it was depression. I'll be very honest with, for full
Mm-hmm.
disclosure. I
Yeah.
didn't know I was depressed.
Yeah. I mean, how could you? You're in it. You can't see it. You can't see the forest for the trees. And
No.
so until you can step out of that and have somebody else look at you and go, you need some help, sis. Um, you just you just can't,
Yes.
and that's where people like you and me come in. And
Yes.
that
I
we're
know.
there to not be your friend. We're there to help you see what you need
Hmm.
to see.
Hmm.
We're there to put on a different pair of glasses and refocus and look at things, life, the past and the future,
Hmm.
the past and the future with a different set of eyes, a different perspective from somebody else's point of view. Can you see it from someone else's point of view? And when you
Mm.
can change your perspective, you can change that reality. When you put on a different pair of shoes, you change the way you look at things, you change the way you walk. So what does that look like? I mean, just in a real simple thing, tennis shoes versus high heels. You got to change the whole way you carry yourself.
Yes.
So how does that work? So
Hmm.
let's apply that to life. Let's change that vibration. Let's find those results. Let's move it up. And if there's anything within you that says I could be doing at least 1% better, then there's something more that you need to be doing.
I
And
love
let's
it.
figure out what that is and move forward.
I'm so glad. My last question, I know I ask everybody this question, so I'm sure you've heard it before. And the
Hmm.
question is this: knowing what you know now, and the wisdom and the knowledge you've acquired now, and still in it, in developing, if you had to advise or impart wisdom or knowledge onto your younger self, what would that be?
Oh, I have thought about this and thought about this and I have thought about this, and this is what it is.
Good.
It does not matter what anybody else thinks. Your job is to take care of you. Don't
Mm,
sweat what the cool girls at school think about your jeans. It does not matter. Do
yeah.
not sweat what your parents think about your career choice. It does
Yes.
not matter.
Yes.
Do not worry one hill of beans what other people think about you. Just move forward. And that's sometimes really hard to hear because you need a support group. But when
Yes.
you say, I'm in charge of me, then you go find a support group that wants to support you.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
want to be they want to be part of that ride, that experience. That's what
Yes.
a mastermind is. They're not there necessarily to be your friends. They're there to help counsel and offer not opinion,
Mhm.
but guidance, bounce ideas off of them as you move forward. That's what
Yes.
you do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's what I
so
would tell my younger self.
I
It
love this.
does not
Like,
matter one hill of beans.
I'm glad because yes, I would have been one of those young people in my undergrad. The confusion and worrying so much about everybody thinks. Oh my gosh.
Right. I so many things in life I did not do because someone else said not to. Just anyway, I can look back on it and just hang my head in sorrow and shame and ask God for forgiveness. But here I am, and you know, the other thing is that when you make a decision as a young person,
Uh-huh.
it does not need to be forever. Go
Yes.
for it, make it work. So what if you join the army now and you're in it for
Mhm.
6 years, and then from there you go to college and you decide to become a therapist, and then from there you go on to become an entrepreneur and start a business or start investing in real estate, and from there you decide to go on and be a travel blogger. Why not?
Exactly. That was me though. I was my goodness, I went from working as a office manager for a lobbyist firm
Mhm,
to owning a like open a small business as a nanny placement agency,
mhm,
then doing a being a parent coach for newborn
right.
new parents anyways
Mhm.
who bring new babies home and they're like, what do I do with this baby?
Yeah, it doesn't
And
come with
I'm
a
like,
book. Unfortunately, there's no book.
there's no book. So I'm like, I'll help you.
Yep,
So I
yep,
would
yep.
go into the home and spend the night there and then stay
Mhm,
there with some families as little as 10 days
mhm.
to 6 weeks
Oh,
and
wow.
show them everything. Then I'll come up with schedules, write things down, feeding schedules, play activities, daily activities, write everything down. So when I'm done, they can take over. And then everything that's going on, the child has done, I write everything down for them
Mhm.
and then I leave. I did that. Then I tried to do other things like cleaning a home. And I remember my first job cleaning a home and I was fired. I started in that parking lot crying. And then the lady said, I was like, why are you firing me? She's like, I can't. And I was like, why? And she's like, with your talent and with your education, I can't. And I was like, I don't care though. I just need the money to help take care of my family. And
Mhm.
she's like, no. And
Yeah.
then she gives me more money than I earned that day. And I cried and I was like, I've never been fired like this. Doesn't make any sense. Then
Right.
from there, I ended up getting clients and then working with them. So I did all that.
Yes,
Then,
exactly.
crazy enough, I got into what? Phlebotomy. And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm of needles. I was like, what does this have to do with counseling and therapy? I stopped school, went to do phlebotomy, then
Mhm.
learn, got that job, worked for a while, and then go back to grad school, and then try to do the newborn services because there was a client I used that used my services years ago got pregnant again, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm not having this baby without you." And I was like, I don't do that anymore. She's like, "Well, you gotta come back. I need you to help me with the second baby." Then by the time I know, her two best friends were all having a baby. So then for almost a year, I was back in the business and going to grad school. I was like, "Ay!" So I had like three jobs. Then I had to quit the phlebotomy, focus on school, and then doing the baby thing. Then I became a nanny, and then still going to school. Then when I stopped, I was like, okay, doing my practicum. It was just like a whole mess. And people, I remember people used to call me, Stroda, why can't you just focus on one thing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, I've been trying, but life just happens, and then I have to change things up. So it doesn't matter. And now that I look back, they were all great lessons.
Exactly.
Because
And
if
that's the important thing is if you're looking back for the lesson, not to change it because it is done. That book is closed. Sorry.
yes,
You know what? If it didn't go your way, I am really sorry. That is okay. And
yes,
I promise that somewhere in the world, the universe will give you an opportunity to do it better. Don't worry about that. It'll happen. But
yes,
the past is past.
it is gone. And I'm glad I went through that, because now I look back and I was like, oh my goodness, how was I going to do therapy or counseling when I had no experience in social work or in any of the community?
Oh, you do though. Those babies and those moms and
Yeah, I was doing that.
housekeeping and
Yeah,
going to, oh, please, there's
everything.
experience everywhere in there. And never mind raising your own family and trying to figure
Exactly.
out what to do with a teenager. Come
Well,
on.
yes. So that taught me, and I realized the hospital, I would go into patients' rooms and I'm going to draw their blood. And some of them, I'm praying with them, I'm hugging with them, and I'm crying with them. And then some of them, I had one time a client, a patient I was going to draw from, and every time he wakes up, he gets a panic attack and he's having a hard time breathing. And the 5 a.m. draw was my shift because I wanted to be home in time to receive my child from school so I can take her to activities and be there and be involved. So I would have to start my shift at 5 a.m. And I'm the one there to draw him. And he's having a panic attack. And the nurses will always be like, "Oh, just let him just go and do your thing and then go." And I'm like, he's having a panic attack though. I'm not going to try and stick him to draw blood while he's going like this and having a hard time breathing. I was like, that's nuts. I can't do that.
Yeah, it's
He's
not
like,
it's
well,
not right.
it needs to be done. And then I didn't even know what I was doing, but I just took him to a less than 5 minutes guided meditation. And then he relaxed and he's like, well, I'll be darned. And I was like, what's the problem? And he's like, what's your name? I told him, he's like, when did you learn to do that? And I was like, I used it on myself, and now I'm going to school and learning to become a therapist. And he said, did they teach you that? And I was like, no, it's just my own thing I do. And and I saw you're in distress. So I figured I need to calm you down before I can draw the blood. And I know it's not my scope of profession in relation to what I'm doing, but I felt you needed some help. So I thought I would give you. Then he said, do you know the only person in this world that could ever calm me down like this when I'm this panicky is my wife? And I was like, oh. Then he said, I have never had any other person. He said, no doctors, no nurses, nobody has ever been able to calm me down like this. And I thought, oh. So the nurse comes, you're still here? And I was like, yes. Then he goes, she's amazing. And I'm thinking, I didn't really do anything. You just had to listen to the guided meditation and you followed through and you got well.
Yeah.
And now I look back and I was like, wow, I needed to see all that to grow, to prepare me to be a therapist. Because if I didn't go through that, and I'm with someone, the person is grumpy, wanting to cuss me or having a panic attack, I'll be like, well, I only use it on myself and my child. I don't know about you. But this gave me an opportunity to practice stuff that I didn't even know that I was going to be needing. And it was great. I mean, there were countless patients that I was doing because I would write poems. I would write articles about
Mhm.
something I've dreamt about, and then I'll just take it and I'll just give it to them for free. I'll go, here, just read. And they were like, you're just giving this to me for free? And they were like, you don't even want a quarter for it? And I was like, nah, just read it and then keep it.
Right.
It was something that I just did. And now that I look back, they were training grounds.
Yeah.
Every opportunity for every difficult thing you get is
Mhm.
training ground. So that's why it's important to get with a coach, because when you get with a coach, please be ready for the learning opportunity. Be
Mhm.
open to the learning. When you call Marnie, recognize in yourself that you're opening yourself up to a world of growth, a
Mhm.
world of learning. Because the moment you shut yourself down and said, I will not learn, there's nothing to me to learn, I'm too old, you have closed the door on your own vibration
Yeah.
and choose to be stuck in a space where you're not able to see the beautiful, beautiful strength you have within you to go forward.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
that's why coaches are important.
Yep. They
Reach
are.
out to Marnie, because when you reach out, she gives you tools to work with where you are,
Mhm.
and you realize that you can do so much more.
Mhm. Thank you.
Please share with us, how can our audience get in touch with you? And you're going to write that book.
Yeah, I'm gonna write that book.
Please.
I've got a stack of Post-it notes with little bits of inspiration. I should show
Good.
somebody what it is because it's really kind of funny to look at. But anyway, the way people get in touch with me is I don't have a website. I mean, there is one, but I don't do anything with it. It's Facebook,
Okay.
Envision Results at
Envision
on
results.
Facebook because everybody seems to have a Facebook account.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very simple. You're there already. You can
Yes.
find me
Yes.
without making a lot of extra effort. If you're
Yes.
interested, if you just want to talk, that's fine. Let's talk because coaching is not for everyone. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
if you're ready to move forward, then let's talk about that. If you're
Yes.
not, then not. We may not be a fit. And I am not your friend. I'm to call you out on your problems. I'm to point out those things that need to be
Mm-hmm.
done. My coach told me that I have a serious case of inaction. I thought that was just so rude, but I needed to hear. And we move forward. It's like, ugh, okay, I will get one thing done. And when you get that one thing done, it's like, wow, I did it. Anyway,
Yes. The accomplishment.
exactly. But Facebook is the best way to get a hold of me, and then message me from there. You're
Okay.
already on Facebook. It's just
Yes.
it's just very, very simple,
Mm-hmm.
and it's private. Nobody has to worry about anything. You can just look and kind of get an idea. I post pretty consistently, and I want you to know that there's value to be had,
Yes.
and we will talk at no charge in the beginning and see if just all you need is a push. And if that
Yes.
push will get your ball rolling, go with it. No
Yes.
big
I
deal.
agree.
If there's more that you want, then we can talk about that.
I love this,
Yeah.
Marnie.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I am itching, like literally itching and waiting to read your book.
I know, me too.
Yes, um, because it seems like we are all on this quest to writing, and
Yeah.
I am finally writing mine.
Yes.
And
You talked about that. That's great.
yeah, and it's great because I was dabbling with children's book. This is the other tip.
Hmm.
If you don't like writing and you feel like it's too much of a commitment, it's especially good to start writing children's books.
Really?
Yeah, come up with because as a coach, I'm sure you have an amazing imagination. You can create stuff, and one of the things that I remember a little girl actually this Christmas, and I was so proud of her. She comes to me because I wrote this two books. One is called Army of Angels Watching Over Me. It's still being um, reviewed because there were some mistakes in there, so it was being reviewed to get
Hmm.
things done right. And then the other one is that one is on Amazon. It's called Polar Kiss. And Polar Kiss, the little girl read the book, P O L L Polar Kiss Kiss.
Hmm.
And then she read the book and she's like, I like this. And I said, well, thank you. And she's like, how did you write? And I was like, how did I write? She said, how do you write a children's book? And she took me back by surprise because nobody has ever asked me that question.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told her, well, let's take this morning. You came for this birthday party, right? She's like, yeah. And she said she had a sleepover with the birthday girl. And then when they woke up, the birthday girl was excited around 4 a.m. So she woke up and she said, today's my birthday. Today's my birthday. Well, the whole house woke up with her and the excitement was in the air. And I was like, okay, I want you to feel that excitement
Mm-hmm.
of that moment. What was happening? What were
Mm-hmm.
you doing? What were people doing? What was a birthday girl saying? Write that.
Mm-hmm.
And then draw the
Excellent.
picture to show what was happening at that time. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, just stay in that present moment and that excitement. Imagine somebody's not there. You want the person to feel it, see it, and hear it.
Mm-hmm.
How would that look like?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, It took about 10 minutes of talking to this little girl. She's like, well, I think 6 or 7. She went away and she asked for some paper and a pencil. She went and started writing the story. She wrote like 3 little pages. She had stapled it and she brought it. She said, look, I've started my story. And I was like,
That is beautiful.
a week later, she drew the pictures
Uh-huh.
to the words and then gave it to the someone to bring it to me to read. I read it and my heart, I felt my heart was swelling with joy and excitement. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I didn't even know that I could describe that to someone to do. And this little girl ran with it.
Yeah.
So then that made me realize anybody can do this.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be, I don't know if you have pets, watch them
Mm-hmm.
and see what they're doing. You could write about that. And it's not silly because there's a
Mm-hmm.
little girl, a little boy out there who would read it and like it and be like, yeah, my pet does that. It could be like I sometimes just watching the butterfly and I write something about the butterfly. Oh, I'm walking and I see a turtle and I'm writing about a turtle. And of course, my family thinks I'm crazy
Mm-hmm.
because I'm writing about everything.
Yeah.
But that's the fun thing. And then you find it so much more exciting because it opens up. And usually, I don't know if you know this, but apparently, the angel that helps artists,
Mm-hmm.
writers,
Mm-hmm.
creative people, speakers, and children, because of it's all about creativity and in an imaginary world,
Yeah.
is Angel Gabriel.
Really?
Yeah,
I like it.
shocked me when I found out.
Yeah.
So look it up. You
I
can read
will. I
that,
will. I need to
and
look at
then
Gabriel.
when you're working and you're asking the universe or you're asking God to ignite this creativity in you to do the stuff that you have to do because I'm not the most disciplined person in the world. But in order for me to sit down and actually put pen to paper and focus and do things, it shocks me every single time. And
Mm-hmm.
I recognize that because I call on help
Mm-hmm.
and they tap into you and then you write and you'll be shocked how much you grow in the writing because everybody has a writer in them. They just need to start, do it, and I gotta give you warning. You will laugh at yourself. Have a
Mm-hmm.
great time laughing
Yeah.
at yourself and what you write. That's all therapeutic. You will enjoy it.
Excellent. So good to hear. So
Thank
good to
you
hear.
so much. I can't
Thank you,
wait. And then
Rhoda.
who knows if you do write your first children's book, let's share it. Come on over and let's talk. And then you can talk about the process and the joy of being that creative and surprising yourself.
Yeah. I
And
look forward to that. That would be
thank you
great.
so much for joining
Thank
us.
you,
We look
Rhoda.
forward to you coming back to Love, Forgive, Live podcast.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure. It's amazing. You're a sister to me, and we could talk forever, but I know,
I know, but we really should get going.
yes, we all have things to do. So I
I know.
appreciate you, and I
Thank
can't wait
you.
to read your books.
I know. I'm looking forward to it too. So we'll
All
get
right.
there, and I will be back. We will talk
Yes,
again, and
please. I'm looking forward to it. And then I'll definitely connect with you again. And then I will let our audience know whenever someone emails me and lets me
yeah.
know, hey, I need to know that, ladies. Oh, you mean Marnie Moore?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm
She'll be
happy
able,
to
I
do that.
can give you the information. Go to Facebook, join her group,
Yes.
talk to people, and then you'll be able to find more about you.
Just
Thank you
keep it
very
really
much.
simple. Wonderful. Thanks, Sarota. I so appreciate it. I'll
I
see you again
appreciate
soon.
you. Bye bye.
Okay.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
day.
Yes, you too.